Hi everyone, this is Dale C. Washington of Greater Works, Prophetic Ministry, and Raw. It is Sunday night, July 7th of 2024. It is approximately 9:23 p.m. I have a very serious warning message to share with you all, and the title, as you can see, is Wipeout. Might I add, no diggity, no doubt. Wipeout. All right. So I received this message from the Lord by way of a dream. Okay. So I woke up from this dream on Tuesday morning, July 2nd, at about 5:10, anywhere between 5:10 to 5:12 a.m. Okay, because when I woke up, I was thinking on the dream for a few minutes. By the time I reached over and grabbed my phone said 5:15. Okay, so that might not be important to everyone, but I kind of like to know what time. I like to keep up with the time and the dates if I can, and I don't always do that. Okay. So, again, the title is Wipeout. So what I'm going to do, I am going to, first I'm just going to tell the dream, and then we'll get into the interpretation, okay? The dream starts out with me. I was mopping vigorously and aggressively, very, very aggressively. So I was mopping, and I was mopping the floors in a marketplace. Okay. And when I woke up, I wasn't sure. I was like, I think I was in a marketplace. But yeah, it turned out that I was mopping very aggressively the floors of a marketplace. There was a lot of clutter on the floors of the marketplace, but the clutter did not deter me from mopping aggressively. Okay, I was slinging the mop every which way but loose. Okay, and I was mopping with speed and vigor. Now, I said I wasn't going to write this dream out, but turns out I did write it out, and I'm glad I did, because it was so much information in this little short dream. It's a very short dream, but so much is going on with this dream. I'm not going to even be able to tell it all, but I'm going to tell the majority of it, okay? All right, so, clutter was all over the floors, and I was just mopping through like a mad woman. Okay, I wasn't letting anything hinder me or get in my way from mopping. Okay, all right. So as I was mopping, I noticed some people going to and fro about their business. It was almost like it was business as usual. Okay, then as I continued to mop, I came upon two shiny black streets. I'm going to show y'all that. So here is, as you can see, New York City. New York City. Now, this is part of the interpretation. This is a marketplace. All right. So now I'm mopping very vigorously in this marketplace, very aggressively. And then I came upon two black streets. Okay. But I came upon two shiny black streets. They looked even more shinier than this photo right here. So I'm going to show that to you. This is my preferred photo, though. Just because of the direction that the streets are going in. This is kind of how it looked in the vision that I had. But the streets were extremely black and shiny and wet looking, like these streets right here. Now in the middle, I put that there from editing to make it look like two separate streets, because in the dream it was two separate streets. Although they were running parallel, those two streets in my dream were divided by something. I don't really know what they were divided by, but as I started writing out the dream and seeking the Lord for interpretation and listening to him, the word gravel came to my spirit. So these were totally two different streets. They were running parallel side by side, but something was dividing the two streets in the middle. It wasn't a raised ground. Whatever it was that was dividing the two streets, it was flat. So gravel is the word that came to me. All right. So these streets appeared very shiny, black, jet black, slick, and wet looking. All right. And they were parallel, as I said. So I named the first one Street 1 and then Street 2. Okay. So this is, first I was just mopping like floors, like these floors in a marketplace. Okay. And then I came upon the two streets. All right. Now, when I came upon the two streets, I had someone else to mop Street 1. And this was all happening very quick. I'm talking a little bit slow, but everything happened very quick. So I had someone else to mop Street 1, and I don't know who it was. It was a person just standing there when I got to these two streets. Someone was just standing there. And I'm not sure if I handed them the mop that I had. I think I did. I don't remember handing them the mop because everything happened so quick. That's probably what I did. Or maybe that person could have had a mop already, but it feels more like I handed them the mop that I had, and then I had that person mop Street 1, and then the mop was back in my hand, and then I mopped Street 2 very vigorously, very aggressively. Okay, I mopped. All right, Street 2. And I thought that was interesting. I didn't really ask the Lord what that was about with someone else mopping, or me having someone else mop Street 1 and then I mop Street 2. I wasn't that focused on trying to find out what that part was about, because there was so many other aspects of this vision that I needed answers from the Lord. Okay, and I needed the interpretation. All right, so okay, so I mopped Street 2. Next, I continue to aggressively mop the rest of the floors in this marketplace. Okay, so I have this picture here. So we know that this city is also a marketplace. I saw some people as I continued to mop. I was no longer mopping the two black streets. I was back to mopping the floors. I saw some people standing by, and they were kind of standing back, watching me in shock and surprise. As I continued to mop up the floors in the marketplace. It was like they were just, standing back. They were really in shock. They were really surprised and just looking at me and watching me. And at that point is when I yelled. And I yelled and I shouted and I said, "Come out of her, my people." Okay. And that was the end of the dream. All right. So I woke up and I remembered that very clearly, that was the last thing in the dream. God allowed me to remember and hear myself shouting at the people, "Come out of her, my people." And I was really yelling and shouting a lot louder than that. Okay. All right. So, okay. So that is, a picture of ancient Babylon. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cover the scriptures. Once, I woke up, I immediately knew, okay, I know the scripture because God had given me the scripture some months ago pertaining to another incident that I haven't shared yet. And also, in I think one of the most recent videos that I published, one of the viewers posted the scripture from Revelations chapter 18, and she, in one of the main scriptures, she posted it. So this is what the Lord gave me Tuesday, July 2nd. Okay, this is the dream that I woke up from. I'm going to read Revelations 18, verses 1 through 6, verses 8 through 13, verses 15 through 18, ending with verse 23. This is very interesting. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading of the word, okay? 18 verses, Revelations 18, verse 1 through 6. And that reads, let me see what other picture I have here. Okay. All right. So, and that reads, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory, meaning the earth was illuminated with the radiance and the splendor of that angel. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Verse 4 is one of my focus scriptures. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. Okay. Yeah. So now I am going to read verses 8 through 13. And the latter part of 13 is my focus. Okay, it's my focus scripture. And the first part, when I get to verse 17, the first part of verse 17 is my focus scripture. So now I'm going to read verses 8 through 13. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors, that's spices and incense, and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil, and that's olive oil, and fine flour and wheat and beast and sheep and horses and chariots, and I'm focusing on this part, and chariots and slaves and souls of men. All right, that is bodies and souls of men. Okay, men meaning men, women, children, boys, girls. Okay, all right. So that was 8 through 13. Now I'm going to read verses 15 through 18. And that reads, The merchants of these things which were made rich by her, that's the dealers and the businessmen. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Verse 17. I'm going to read that in the Amplified. Because in one single hour, all the vast wealth has been destroyed, wiped out. All right, verse 18. So that was the first part of verse 17. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. I'm sorry, in the Amplified. I'm going to read the rest of that in the Amplified. Because in one single hour, all the vast wealth has been destroyed, wiped out. And all ship captains and pilots, navigators, and all who live by seafaring, the crews and all who plied their trade on the sea stood a long way off. Verse 18, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? Verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. That's by your magic spells and your poisonous charm, all nations were led astray and seduced and deceived. Amen. Okay, so those are the scriptures, again, in the dream, in the vision. The last thing that happened was me crying out to the people, Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people. All right, the message again, this is a warning. Wipe out. Wipe out. Okay, so now I'm going to go on to the next part. We're going to get into the interpretations. I've been trying to get this message done since last night. I've been working on this since I got up this morning, and I am just now sitting down to record this and to share this with you all. All right, so now we're going to get into the interpretation. So in seeking God for interpretation, the first thing that was spoken to me by the Lord was two words. He said, BlackStreet. Okay, I don't know what he's talking about, so I began to wonder, and then I began to Google, okay? So I kept seeing a music group called BlackStreet, and I kept scrolling by like, no, that's not it. And I kept wondering what God was talking about and trying to figure out what God meant by BlackStreet, because I knew he could not have been talking about this BlackStreet right here, the group. And I can't tell you how many times I went to Google and I kept searching, trying to find something about BlackStreet that would resonate with me, and let me know that, yeah, this is it. This is it. This is what God is talking about. This is what God is showing me. And I never found anything else significant. I never found anything else that pointed me to anything that God was talking about other than this group right here. This group just would not go away. They just kept popping up. So I decided to go ahead and click on the link that led to the video. And the song, No Diggity, their song, which is this song right here. This is like the first link this is the link that just kept popping up when I Googled it. So this is what I clicked on. So to my amazement, once I clicked on the video, to my amazement, two of the, first the streets, the black, jet black, shiny, wet, slick looking streets, to my amazement, matched what I saw in my dream. The same appearance, except for what was dividing them in the middle. So my mouth kind of like dropped open. And in that moment, I said, this is where God is leading me to. I don't know what this is about. I don't know what's going on. But this is it. Okay, so also the streets had the same appearance as the streets that I saw in the vision. There's two limos in this video. Well, there's three, but two of the limos match the portion of the parallel streets in my dream. Okay, and you can see two of the limos in the back. They're kind of positioned kind of parallel. So, and I'm going to show you more pictures from this, but those two limos are positioned almost identical to the two streets, the two shiny black streets in the vision that the Lord gave me. Now, these two limos, these two parallel limousines remind me of presidential limousines. That is what I see in this video. Okay. Now, what is the song No Diggity about? What is that song about? And we're going to get into that. It's about prostitution. All right. It's about a madam and her high-end hookers, or her high-end prostitutes, who have business all over town. Okay. No Diggity sounds like the national anthem for wicked Babylon. All right. It sounds like the national anthem to what is going on with modern day Babylon and what God said was going on with ancient Babylon, which he destroyed. It's the national anthem for them. All right. So here are, I'm going to tell you what some of the lyrics say in a minute. But first I want to say that I don't know how to explain this except for this is about what God wants to reveal. This is God using this music video and this music group. I don't know how to explain. This is not me calling them out personally. That's not what this is about. God has used me and showed me hidden messages in other videos and things that we call secular, but some of them have a very prophetic meaning in them. So that is what this is. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm just going to share with you all how God led me to this, which I'm doing, and what God showed me. And I'm just going to give you all the word and the warning. Okay. And if anybody has a problem with this, you have to seek God for yourself. But I have to speak what thus saith the Lord. I have to do my part. Okay. So some of the lyrics, and I'm going to mention the lyrics again, but part of the lyrics said, because that's the lady was rapping. Her name is Queen Pen. She said, because that's my peeps and we roll sheep, flying first class from New York City to BlackStreet. All right. And then the guy says, one of the guys says, I like the way you work it. No diggity. No diggity means no doubt. No diggity. I got to bag it up. All right. So very catchy song. When I opened the link, I was like, yeah, I vaguely remember this song. This song they recorded this in 1996. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the group. Yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the group. So the group, it says, was founded, Google says this group was founded in New York. So that's a connection to New York. I felt that once I got into seeking God for the interpretation, I knew that he was very strongly connecting me to New York, and of course showing me Babylon, the destruction of ancient Babylon, but he's speaking for today, for modern Babylon. Okay. The group was founded in New York, says Google. This group had a street named after them, and that may have been, I'm not sure, it may have been in 2023. So Presidential Boulevard was changed to BlackStreet Boulevard, and I found that very interesting in my research once I came upon this piece of information, because as I stated a few minutes ago, the two black limousines in this video were positioned the exact same way that the two black streets in my dream was. And when my eyes first landed on the limousines, they were presidential limousines to me. They were not just regular limousines, but I saw presidential limousines. So I came upon this later from research, and I found this, and I think that is very interesting. The next thing about this group that I want to tell you all is that they are some very prophetic peeps and sheep. Okay? They are very prophetic. So I'm familiar with, I used to be familiar with one of the singers, I think Teddy Riley. I don't know what he's doing today. I don't know what these people in this group are doing today. All of the original members are not still in the group. I don't know how current they are with producing music. I think I read that one of the original members passed away. So yeah, this was a huge song. This was a huge hit, and I didn't remember it a lot, but I did remember it once I started listening to it. I did begin to remember it. I was in church when this was done. I had already gotten saved in 1996, so it's not like I was playing it a lot, but I was familiar with it. Had forgotten all about it, but this is where God directed me to. Okay, again, some of these people, I don't know where they are, what they're doing. I had always liked Teddy Riley. Some of these people may be serving the Lord now. I don't know. Okay. If they're not serving the Lord, then this message is going out to them, but this message is not targeting them. This message is targeting anybody that is in what is in the place, or that God is going to be talking about in this prophetic warning. This is for masses of people. This is for multitudes of people, this warning. This is for God's people, whoever you are, wherever you are. Okay? All right, so we're going to get into the interpretation. I wanted to tell y'all a little bit about this group. But yes, I found them to be, once I went through the video and God began to show me the hidden messages and the prophetic meaning in the video, the music video, and in some of the lyrics, I said, these are some very prophetic peeps and sheep. And in no way am I advocating that you all go pull the video up and look at it. That's between you and God. That's if you want to do that. Some people think that they're too holy and to look at this, to listen to this. I'm not listening to it for recreation and for pleasure. I was led to it as an assignment. And the other thing I want to say is the pictures that I am using in this video, in this message I'm sharing, These pictures tell the story. Even if there's something that I forget to articulate, these pictures tell the story. These pictures are going to be telling more than I may even get a chance to speak on. All right. These pictures are telling a lot. So, and I'm going to be pointing out as much as I can to you all. So, getting into the interpretation, all right. The mopping, I wanted to know from the Lord, the mopping. What was all the mopping about? The aggressive, vigorous mopping I was doing. And I remembered about the sweeping. So I said, I know there's a scripture about sweeping because I used that scripture about the woman sweeping to find something costly that she had lost. I used that one in the prophetic warning that I did for Florida years ago. That would have been 2016. She may have been looking for some very costly pearls that she lost. That's in the New Testament. So I remember God dealing with me about the sweeping and judgment coming for Florida. So Florida is another city under judgment. Florida is not what I'm focusing on in this prophetic word. I'm going to be focusing on the places that God put in my spirit for this particular word, and what is also very being expressed prophetically in the music video, but also from the word of God. Okay. So yeah, just wanted to say about the sweeping. I'm familiar with the sweeping and the warning and the judgment that God showed me for Florida in 2016. I was not familiar with mopping, so I'm searching the scriptures for scriptures on mopping, and I'm not really finding any scriptures on mopping. So, so anyway, God let me know that the mopping that I was doing, and I began to know that the way I was mopping like a crazy woman, you know, I was slinging that mop every which way but loose. I knew that it wasn't representing me. I knew that that was God. And I knew that that was something very serious. But I needed for God to just make it plain. I felt that it was judgment. But yes, God did let me know. He said the mopping was judgment. Because with the mopping and all the, you know, the wetness that I saw as I'm mopping on the floor, I'm thinking, okay, this is flooding. This must be going to be flooding. So I knew it meant danger and disaster. So God did emphatically speak and let me know the mopping was judgment. All right. It is the judgment of God Most High. Now, verse 5 in the Amplified says, for her iniquities, her crimes, and this is the Amplified, for her iniquities, talking about Babylon, her crimes and transgressions are piled up as high as heaven. Okay, that's why. All right, so there's the two parallel streets. I'm going to give the interpretation for that. The two parallel shiny black streets have several interpretations, believe it or not. So again, I mentioned the flooding. Mopping and wet floors is flooding to the places under judgment, although there will be fire and flooding. Okay, there's going to be fire and floods. The scriptures that I read about the destruction of Babylon in Revelations 18, that tells you how this place was burned with a great fire. Okay, and people just could see it from afar off. But there's also part of the judgment is flooding. Okay. The fires may come later for certain areas, and for some areas the fires have already started, but there's definitely going to be fire and floods. And I mentioned something about that in a previous video pertaining to California. God had let me know some years ago. He said some were going to die in the fire and some were going to die in the flood. And that was specifically at that time spoken to me about California, but that is including, it's really more about more than just California. Okay. All right. So another, let's see, an interpretation of the two parallel black streets, two shiny black limousines in the BlackStreet video. Okay, there we go. No diggity in that video. Okay, so that is an interpretation right there. Those two jet black, slick looking, shiny limousines. Those are the two presidential limousines that I mentioned. And those two limos equal the number 44. If you know, you know. Okay. I'm not going to have time to explain everything thoroughly. Some things I'm going to be speaking is going to be by way of parables. It's going to be for those who know, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. That's 4 and 4. That's number 44. Okay. The two parallel wet and shiny jet black streets. Okay. In a few pictures, I want to say this. Y'all going to see 3 limos. And in the pics that I provided, when you see 3 limos, that equals 444. Okay. That's going to be 444. All right. So back to the two parallel black streets. Those streets equal ancient Babylon, as I mentioned, and present day Babylon. Ancient Babylon and modern Babylon. That is another interpretation of the two streets. Okay. All right. And so let me tell you what parallel means. I know most of y'all know, but parallel means something similar. It suggests a marked likeness in the development of two things. Okay, so present day Babylon is going to get the same thing that ancient Babylon received, and probably a whole lot more. Okay, so those are the similarities. It's showing two things that are very similar. Okay, ancient Babylon, modern Babylon. Okay, so let's see. The two parallel streets also means that Babylon is going to be repaid double. She's going to receive double her doom. That's Revelations chapter 18, verse 6. And that says, repay to her what she herself has paid to others, and double her doom in accordance with what she has done. Mix a double portion for her in the cup she mixed for others. Okay. All right. So here are some articles. Another interpretation that the Lord told me that was for the two slick, shiny black streets. God told me that they represent the black market. All right. The black market. Now, I don't have time to read all of this article. Everyone should know what the black market is. It is the underground economy, the shadow economy. It's the underground world where all the illegal activities, illegal sales goes on of all kinds of things. Some of the things that I read about in Revelations chapter 8 that were happening in ancient Babylon, they're happening here today in modern Babylon, which is America, and the black market, okay? Illegal drug trade, prostitution, illegal currency transactions, and human trafficking, all right? The black market, underground illegal activities. It also tells you that it is connected to the dark web. A lot of the transactions are happening online, such as the dark web, okay? Okay, so I almost forgot. This picture right here, when I posted this picture, I happened to glance and look at the time. If you see, I have it circled up top. When I posted this picture in this folder today, the time was 4:44. We're talking about the black market. We're talking about prostitution. We're talking about BlackStreet. We're talking about, from New York City to BlackStreet. Okay, very telling that the time was 4:44 when I posted this information about the black market activities, and that is one of the interpretations of the two parallel black streets in my dream. Okay, Baa Baa Black Sheep and 444. Okay. Baa Baa Black Sheep is Baa Baa BlackStreet. Baa Baa BlackStreet, have you any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full. The song by BlackStreet said, I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Baa Baa BlackStreet, have you any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full. Now, this is the other part of the interpretation of this vision God gave me, because he brought this back to my remembrance about Baa Baa Black Sheep. God had actually given me this years ago with other information that I haven't shared yet, when he was showing me some of the dealings from years ago with certain people, and I really didn't know what to do and how to share the information about Baa Baa Black Sheep. I didn't really know how to articulate how God was showing me the connection with that riddle, or that children's rhyme, with the illegal activity of people who are wickedness in high places, okay? With some of the people who are in entertainment. God was showing me a connection. He was showing me some things concerning Baa Baa Black Sheep and certain activities and certain people, okay? So Baa Baa Black Sheep, Baa Baa BlackStreet, have you any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full. Now listen to this. 1 for the master, 1 for the dame. The dame equals the madam. 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. Now that's 444, as you can see in this picture right here. This again, this is for all those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. I told y'all, these are some very prophetic peeps and sheep who did this music video, okay? 1 for the master, 1 for the dame, 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane, 444. Here's another interpretation that God gave me for the 2 parallel wet and shiny jet black streets in my dream. And I keep saying all those words together for a reason. I want you to hear the words, hear the description. Here's the interpretation, another interpretation of those 2 streets. The Lord let me know that those 2 streets represent 2 city slickers. 2 shiny black city slickers. 2 shiny black city slickers. And they sharp too. They sharp now. Okay? Now, the third wheel makes this trio 444. Okay? So I saw that picture a minute ago. I don't know where I put that picture right now. But there's a third wheel to make it a trio. We're just going to use this one for now. 444. This is a warning message. This is about the judgment of God against wicked Babylon. This is about BlackStreet. This is about the black market and the selling of souls and bodies of men, women, and children. This is about black sheep and white sheep. All right? But I believe that, I don't know how to say this, but I believe that this whole thing about Baa Baa Black Sheep, I really believe it was pointing to wherever this originated many, many years ago. I really believe it was pointing to slavery, the slavery of black people. Although when you research it, some people say, oh, that's not what it was really about. But prophetically, that is what it signified. Okay. All right. This is about black and white sheep now. Okay. This is a warning about all manner of sin and perversion that has reached high heaven. And God is sick of it. God is sick of it. This is about prostitution. This is about sex trafficking of humans and helpless, innocent children. This warning is about the slave black market, which is connected to what some call the dark web, as I pointed out in the article a few minutes ago. Baa Baa Black Sheep. Baa Baa BlackStreet. Have you any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. That means I got to sell you. I got to make merchandise of you. Because that's me. Okay? Because that's my peeps, she said. The rapper. Because that's my peeps. And we rolls sheep. Now, the printed lyric said the word that we rolls deep. I don't believe that's what she said. That is not what God is telling me is the hidden meaning behind the lyrics. If you Google it, all the printed lyrics is going to say, and we rolls deep. God is showing me that that video is about prostitution. And it's about rolling sheep, okay? And I'm not going to argue with anybody about it. I know what God is showing me prophetically. I know what the encoding, I know what the message behind the message is. And even when I look at the video, it doesn't look like her mouth is wording, we roll deep, okay? She said, because that's my peeps. And we roll sheep flying first class from New York City to BlackStreet. All right? From New York City to BlackStreet. And guess what? God does not, he does not like the way you work it. He does not like the way you work it, Babylon. From New York City to BlackStreet. Isn't that interesting? That's California right there, as you can see. God does not like the way you work it. Baa Baa Black Sheep. Baa Baa BlackStreet. BlackStreet. the black market. God does not like the way you work it. No diggity, no doubt. God is going to wipe you out. God is going to wipe the BlackStreet market out. God is going to destroy and wipe Babylon out. No diggity, baby. Revelations 18 and verse 17. Because in one single hour, all the vast wealth has been destroyed, wiped out. God says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. Come out wherever you are. Come out wherever you are. And again, it's like the whole time I'm reading Revelations 18, more so than any other place this time, New York City is in my spirit. This is connecting to California. God's judgment in this word, this warning is connecting to California. There are other places under judgment. Florida is also a place that's under judgment. And I can name a few more places. But for some reason, New York is really highlighted and really, really in my spirit this time, more so than any place else. And I should say New York and California, okay? God does not like the way you work it. No diggity, no doubt. He's going to wipe you out. Come out of her, my people. God is sick of baby. Do you know who baby is? Baby is Babylon. God is sick of baby. Now, there's something about these prophetic peeps and sheeps that I forgot to mention. And by the way, that's me right there. Okay. Let's get back to the prophetic peeps and sheep. Something I wanted to mention. Now, what does this look like? And the guy with the blue shirt and the number 22, who does this look like? Who does he look like in this photo from that angle in this moment? I know who he is. I'm asking, who does he look like? Who does he look like right there? What does this scene look like to y'all? Pay attention. Number 22. Pay attention to this young lady. I know who these people are. I know who the guy in the blue shirt is. That's Dr. Dre. But who does he look like from that side angle right there? Who does he look like? Pay attention to the number 22. See this young lady right here? Queen Pen? See that? Airplane wings. I talked about this in a previous video. I don't know which one. It might have been the Whitney Houston video that I did some years ago. Those are airplane wings. Okay? Five tips for surviving a red-eye flight. This was posted on Google. Interesting. Interesting. Do y'all know anything about those red-eye flights? These are things that I don't have time to really talk about right now. But as I said, these pictures are telling a story. These pictures tell a lot. These pictures tell a lot. Look, this caption was on Google. How to survive a red-eye flight with a baby. Didn't I just tell y'all that baby is Babylon? Baby is Babylon. And what about baby girl? Y'all remember baby girl? Because let me tell y'all something. God cares about his sheep. God cares about what's happening to his sheep. God cares about what has already happened to his sheep. He cares. God hears the cries of his people, and he cares. God hears the cries of the children who are trapped underground. This is a picture that I shared from the video that I did, Space Jam to Corridors of Hell. This is one of the pictures, and this is one of the pictures. Okay, I was supposed to come back and do a part 2 of Space Jam to Corridors of Hell, and I didn't get a chance to finish that up. But these children that I was posting in that video, these are some of the children who are trapped underground, and God hears their cries. God hears their cries, and he cares. These are the children that are trapped underground. And there are many more of you, though. There are multitudes of you all. And you made yourselves willing participants in the crimes and the dirty dealings of Babylon. And because of your lust for fame, fortune, and perversion, you gave the whore permission to take you captive. I don't have time to get into another part of this message. I'm going to share it later, but the MC on this man's forehead stands for mind control. Believe it or not, at the same time God began to speak certain things to me and warnings to me and tell me about this vision, at the same time, almost simultaneously, he's speaking to me about the mind control that his people are under. Babylon got y'all under mind control. Some of y'all willingly went in, and now God is calling y'all to come out of her. You went in of your own accord, by your own power. Nobody forced you in. You went in. You walked into this on your own, drawn away by your lust, enticed by your own lust, your own greed for money and fame. You went in, and God is saying, come out of her. God in his mercy is calling y'all to come out. He's calling y'all out. God wants to see some people free. God is standing by, waiting and wanting to heal and deliver. And God told me to let y'all know, he said, healing is here. Healing is here. God is making a plea on tonight, but he says you must come out of her now. You must come out of her now. God has already made a way of escape, and your way of escape is to come out. Come out of sin, come out of wickedness, come out of Babylon, come out of her, my people. Come out, wherever you are, says the Lord. God is calling. This message is called WIPEOUT. No diggity, no doubt. God is calling y'all to come out of Babylon. God is pleading, come out of her. God is a God of mercy and love, but he is also a God of judgment. And judgment is here. Judgment is here. From Wall Street to BlackStreet, judgment is here. From Wall Street, and guess what? The Dow will bow. God is mopping it up. Mopping it up. The Dow will bow. From Wall Street to BlackStreet, God is going to wipe it out. God is going to wipe baby out. God is going to mop it up. God is going to wrap it up tight. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. This is ancient Babylon, and that reminds me of this. I got that from Google as well. This is the wicked Babylon. This is the wicked city. This is the wicked present day Babylon. God is going to wrap it up tight. It's a wrap. Judgment is here. Get ready, baby. Get ready, baby. Get ready, get ready, get ready. She made her bid, sold to the highest bidder. Now she's on the auction block. Mamba out, Mike out, and baby out. Bye bye, baby. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye, baby. Baby out. Baby out. Revelations 18 and 23, and I'm wrapping this up. I am wrapping this up. God is mopping it up, and I'm wrapping it up. Verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. Baby out. No diggity, no doubt.